You're listening to Ambitious AF, a podcast that will help you level up, find positivity, and put yourself on top right now and every day for the rest of your life. I'm your host, Caroline Lewis, and each week I will bring you a guest or thought that will motivate you to get out of bed every morning with the willingness to succeed. Being ambitious means you are proud of who you are and everything you've accomplished. Only you can make that happen, though. But with the help of this podcast, you will rise to the top. You will find success. You will believe in yourself and manifest happiness. And most importantly, you will become ambitious AF. I know you are eager to begin, so let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of my podcast, Ambitious AF. I'm your host, Caroline Lewis, and I hope you guys all had an amazing week. I guess the last time I spoke to you guys was last Thursday, but I will be doing these podcast episodes every Wednesday now. I've decided, mainly because, Wednesdays are like middle of the week. Everyone needs a little bit of lift, inspiration. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I love Mondays. I'm not a fan of Fridays, right? Because Mondays, it's like a whole new week to set intentions and goals and to smash all kinds of epic things. But then Friday comes around and you're normally feeling a little bit burnt out, maybe tired, exhausted, frustrated. Maybe you didn't hit as many goals as you were wanting to. So then halfway in between the week, I know for me, it's always nice if I listen to like an uplifting podcast or tune into some of my favorite mentors and speakers and kind of get that uplifting inspiration so that Friday is not such a drag. So that's why I decided to make these guys go live to the public on Wednesdays. So tune in every Wednesday to Ambitious AF, and hopefully you guys can, get some inspiration from it, some motivation. That's why I'm doing these. I am here to get your butt up out of bed and accomplish everything that you've been wanting to accomplish, because only you can do it. But with a community and maybe some words of inspiration, it'll only make you do things better and faster and with a little bit more, self-love, because that's kind of what we're all about, right? In order to accomplish all the things that we want, we have to first love ourselves first. And I feel like that's a big accomplishment to begin with, especially if you are like me and have that mentality that can kind of drift off of focusing on, my inner health and focusing more on everyone else around me. So that's what these podcast episodes are here for. It's mainly here in order for you, yes, to find success in every aspect of life, but you can't find success, like I've mentioned numerous times, you can't find that success until you learn to put yourself back on top again. And understanding that everything that you've done in life is a huge accomplishment, whether you feel like it is or not. And, just take every day, day by day, live in the now. Don't focus on the past or even the future. Just do whatever you need to do right now in order to make yourself right and to love yourself again. Because once you can find those things, really shift that mindset, that's when you're going to start seeing huge improvements in anything that you have been wanting to improve. So, with that being said, today's topic is Ain't Nobody Got Time for Fear. And the reason I've decided to talk about this is mainly because, once again, this is another week into this whole coronavirus. We don't know when it's going to end just yet, but I'm just here to let you guys know we don't have time for fear. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let fear stop you from achieving anything that you've wanted. So let's just dive into it, right? So fear, by definition, fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. So in this day and age right now going through the coronavirus, I think a lot of people are fearful of, first off, catching the virus, because we don't know how our bodies are going to respond to it. Every person is different, and every person who contracts the virus is going to respond in some different way. We're not all the same, so we're not all going to respond the same. So I think a lot of people are a bit uncertain with how they can catch the virus and what the virus will do to them as a physical person. Is it going to hurt them dramatically, or is it just kind of going to pass through? The second fear I think we have is the spread, because I've even heard that the virus kind of stays in your system for, 5-10 days. You never really know what's true or what's not true, but say it stays in your system for 10 days and then you start noticing signs. So that means throughout those 10 days, if you're not quarantining or being careful, wearing a mask, if you are out in public so you're not coughing on anyone or no one's coughing on you, and think of all those people throughout the 10 days that you could have infected if you have the virus, right? And then by the end of these 10 days, potentially you have had the virus and now you're showing symptoms. And we don't really know, like I said just seconds ago, we don't know what your body is going to react to or how it's going to react to. So you could just have like a scratchy throat, maybe a bit of a cough, and then 48 hours later, you feel fine, or you start maybe with those symptoms and then it progresses overnight. You catch a fever and then, you go to get tested and voila, you've had the virus. And then they're going to ask you, where have you been throughout the past couple of days? Because then they are going to start to track who else could potentially get infected from this thing. So the third fear I think we all have is economy, money, finances, our job. So all of this security. I think the biggest thing is we've had an amazing economy over the last 4 years, whether you believe in that or not. We have had an amazing economy and everyone's been getting used to having amazing, abundant economy. And now it's just been total flip. And yes, right now we are not in the best of economy. So those three fears, I think, are, what is holding you back from achieving what you want to achieve. And I'm here to tell you that yes, all of these things right now, it's a scary time, it's a weird time, it's a confusing time where we have to adapt to a new way of living, but don't let that fear overcome anything going on or anything that you want to accomplish. Fear should only drive the soul to do better, to do more. So let this fear, learn it, accept it, and move on and achieve something greater. So if you are fearful of, we're just going to go through all the different fears. So if you are fearful of contracting the virus and you don't know how your body's going to react, accept that you could contract the virus whether you are staying isolated or not. You could catch it any minute of any time of any day, I guess for the rest of the year until we figure out, how to combat this thing. So if this weren't the virus, would you be afraid to catch a cold and just totally stop your life because you're afraid of catching a cold? No, I don't think so. Would you be afraid and totally stop your life if you cut your finger and you're afraid it's going to get infected so bad that it goes into your bloodstream and then you have a whole blood infection? No, I don't think so. So it is fearful, especially for specific age groups and specific health concerns that some of us do have. But don't let that stop you from continuing to live a healthy life. And if you are in that unhealthy age group, so say if you are overweight or something, or maybe you have a disease or a concern because of your weight, maybe this is a good time as like a reality check, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be drinking all that Coke all the time, or maybe I shouldn't be drinking or eating all those cupcakes or what have you. Maybe this is a time where I do lose a couple of pounds because I know if I'm in better shape, in better health, then the virus won't affect me as much. Now, I'm not saying this is for everyone, because those with autoimmune diseases to begin with, or any type of immunity compromised disease, or I don't really know if that makes sense, but if your immunity is compromised in any way, that's what I wanted to say, then you do have to be a little bit cautious with the virus because you don't necessarily know how it will affect you, but it will probably affect you in a pretty negative way to the point that you do have to stay in the hospital. But if you are just a person who doesn't have any immunity compromises, or you don't have any huge health concerns, but maybe you're diabetic because of your weight, or maybe you have breathing problems to begin with because of your weight. Take this opportunity as like a mental check. Okay, well, then I need to get myself in shape. And yes, gyms are not open, but that's not an excuse to not get in shape. You can still do jumping jacks every day, and I guarantee that's more jumping jacks than you've done yesterday. So think of it kind of like that. So if you're fearful of getting the sickness, don't be, because if you live your life in fear like that, then, that's how hypochondriacs are created, because you're constantly living in this fear of, I'm going to catch this, I'm going to do this, my body's going to do this, and then you stop living. And when you stop living, you shut down, and that's when things are going to sneak into your body, because your immune system kind of suppresses. I mean, I always get sick. Like, okay, when I was in college, I would go from, I don't know, summer until winter break. You go, you drink, you put your body through so much shit, you barely sleep, you eat horrible, and I would never get sick in college until I came home for winter break. Do you know why? Because your immune system is go, fighting off everything, and then the minute you relax, that's when the sickness starts creeping in. So kind of think of it like that. If you're trying to lose weight, or if you're trying to get yourself a bit healthier, continue to do so, and don't let this virus stop you. If anything, this virus should motivate you, because you can't ever live your life in total fear of that. Because the minute you do, you're just giving the virus what it wants, or giving any sickness what it wants, and you're going to constantly be sick, whether it's from this or, later on in life, you're just going to constantly be sick, because your body's just run down to the point that it's okay with it, and it's just going to invite all of the diseases back in there. So the fear of number one is catching the disease. That's a fear to anyone. I mean, I don't want to catch a weird foreign disease, or sorry, virus. I should be saying virus. It's not a disease, excuse me. I'm 28 years old, and I consider myself extremely healthy. I mean, I'm still afraid to catch a weird virus that my body has never been has never even heard of yet. Yeah, of course I'm scared, but does that stop me from living my life and continuing to live a healthy lifestyle? Hell no. Oh my gosh, no. If anything, it's making me become more healthy, because I'm washing my hands more and for 20 seconds with warm water, or I'm disinfecting my groceries when I come home from the grocery store, or I'm making sure that I'm not getting super close to everyone in the way. And if someone coughs nearby me, I try to cover my face, or you could wear a mask. So don't let the fear of getting sick ruin your life. That's pretty much what I want to say. So the second thing is being fearful of spreading the disease. And this one you can't be fearful of, because whether you have the virus, whether it's gone through you or not, you can't be afraid of spreading the disease, because if you're afraid of spreading the disease, then your neighbor's going to be afraid of spreading the disease, and then their friends are going to be afraid. And then all of a sudden, we're back to this fearful state where everyone is afraid to even open their door to get the mail, or to get their pizza delivery. It kind of ties into not being afraid of catching the disease. You shouldn't be afraid of potentially catching it and spreading it, and you shouldn't be afraid or worrying if your neighbor is sanitizing themselves enough, because yes, we need to be social distancing, but we don't need to be in full on isolation mode where we just sit down, legs crossed, staring at the wall, only eating peanuts and drinking water. Like, I'm just envisioning this right now, right? Like, all the lights off, no music, no noise, no nothing, just full total silence until this virus ends. No, definitely not. If you're not working, you can still go outside. You should be going outside. and enjoying the fresh air. I feel like the worst thing we could be doing is keeping ourselves cooped up. So, you just have to be cautious and you have to continue living that healthy lifestyle. So the third one, in regards to the economy and a lot of you losing jobs, and of course that is a huge fear, and it's definitely a hard one to overcome. I mean, I am so grateful that all of my businesses that I either own or manage, they're all still able to be running during this pandemic, because my main source of income, my main 9 to 5 job is I manage a car repair shop. So we're allowed to and have been allowed to stay open throughout this whole time. I could not imagine, and I was just saying to my boyfriend the other day, I could not imagine you working a job, and for the most part, we buy certain things around our job, essentially, because our job is going to pay our bills. So if we're smart about it, we buy specific things depending on the amount of money we are going to receive every Friday or every other Friday. So you invest in a house because you're getting $60,000 a year, right? So every month you're able to afford that house, assuming that you didn't buy like $1 million house with only a $60,000 income. So say, we're just being realistic, say you buy a house for 60, or sorry, not for 60, but you have a $60,000 paying job a year and you buy a house that you are able to afford with the income you're making from your job. And then all of a sudden, your job literally tells you within 24 hours that you're laid off. That is terrifying, okay? And I can't even relate to that. I can't, because I'm still working. I'm still getting my, weekly paycheck. I cannot imagine what you're going through, but don't let that fear shift your mindset into a constant state of negativity, because you will shut down and you won't be able to figure out your finances or your health or anything like that. I will tell you, we are a strong world. We will overcome this virus and our economy will get back on top. Trust me. We're just going through something really bad, but it's a great way to figure out our inner strength, essentially. So just trust in the fact that the economy will lift itself up. You will get your job back. Whether it's the same job or having to apply to a new job, you will be able to get your income back. Yes, it is a terrifying time from making a salary or an hourly income to nothing. But that's why there's things like unemployment. Hopefully you guys have been able to get the stimulus package, which the $1,200 plus I think you get $500 for any kid under 17. So that's not going to help that much, but it'll help some, right? Anything will probably help. But take that fear, accept it, and move on and figure out another way to make an income. There are so many online places you can go to. You can apply to Fiverr, which is like a, here, let me see what it's literally like a, oh my gosh, a freelance. Yeah, so it's, I was going to say affiliate, but it's a freelance marketplace. So you can literally go on there and say you have thought about writing a book. You can become a writer for different companies who are looking for writers for blog posts or for their website. So you can go out and it might be $5 starting, but hey, that's $5 you didn't have before, right? If you're into digital marketing, you can kind of freelance your time out as a SEO or a marketing strategist or even a PR. If you like graphic design, seriously, graphic designers are the most creative people ever. I would love to be a graphic designer because I feel like it is so beneficial in anything you do. So if you are creative like that, then this is the time. And this is what I want to say. Sorry, I feel like I was rambling. If you have ever thought of doing anything other than your job, if you love painting or drawing and you thought the slightest chance of maybe you want to start your own company, head over to Fiverr and start selling your designs for $5. You're not selling your designs, but you could be selling your designs, but start selling your service for $5. If you I mean, Fiverr even has like, you can be a game designer and you can sell that service. If you wanted to be a musician, or you wanted to be a narrator and you're really, really good at talking, I mean, hell, you can even start a podcast during this quarantine. And maybe if you're good enough, you can get sponsors earlier than expected. But even Fiverr, you can do voiceovers. You can even get paid as a singer, or a mixer, like mixing tapes and stuff like that, like a DJ. You can get paid as a podcast editor. So if you have that ear where you can go in and take someone's file and edit it for them, start at $5 and see what happens, right? Nothing should be holding you back. And the thing that's going to be holding you back is this fear. Fear is the thing that is telling you, no, you can't do that. You can't be a podcast editor. You know nothing about that. You can't be a game developer. You know nothing about that. You can't be a virtual assistant or a PR person or an email marketer or a fitness grower or a cooking online influencer. You can't do all of these things. You work, an hourly position, in landscaping, right? Like, that's totally, no, don't let, that's your fear talking. And you need to take fear and kind of throw it across the yard. I was going to say something else, but I'll try to keep this kid friendly. So take that fear, bundle it up in a ball, and kick it as far as you want to, all the way to China. I don't really care. But learn what your fear is, where it's coming from, accept it, and then grow from there. So in any circumstance, you can take this fear and you can develop something that's 10 times better. There are so many people who, okay, think of Sarah Blakely, because I'm obsessed with her and I love her on Instagram. She is so hilarious. She founded Spanx. Spanx is an amazing business and she makes millions and millions. She could even make billions. I should probably Google that. But she makes millions and millions with this one company, Spanx. And you know what? She did not come up with Spanx and make $1 million in a day. She actually had a pretty bad life before Spanx and was living like below paycheck to paycheck. And she was fearful for her life because it wasn't what she was expecting. And then guess what? She could have let that fear get to her. She could have let that fear get to her so badly that she did nothing with it. And even to this day, she would be jumping around and barely making a payment to afford an apartment complex that's only $500 a month. She could be scraping it to this day, but she isn't. She is living an amazing, luxurious life with an adorable family that she and her husband raised, and has tons of money because she realized her fear, accepted it, learned from it, and then created a freaking business from it. She created a multi-million-dollar business from her fear. So I am telling you all right now, if anything, take this pandemic, take that fear, and go create your multi-million-dollar business. Go create your freaking empire. I don't care what you love doing. Right now, as you're sitting during this free time that you've had, what have you been doing? Have you been gaming? Have you been drawing? Have you been painting? Have you been spending more time with your dog and maybe training it better? Have you been cooking a lot? Have you been doing TikTok videos or videos in general? Have you been reading a bunch? Have you been listening to podcasts? Have you been exercising and have been able to knock off 5 pounds? Whatever you are just doing right now and enjoy doing, go turn that into something. Go create your freaking empire. Because I guarantee you, if you took the amount of energy that you are taking right now to be fearful and flipping it and taking that same amount of energy and doing something with it, I guarantee you whenever this pandemic is done, you will have a business up and running. I honestly believe in that because fear is huge. Fear is the only reason why I'm podcasting right now. Fear is the only reason why I'm writing a book. Fear is the only reason why I started my online company, because I woke up one day. It was a very random day. I was probably hungover because I'm sure I was drinking. And I passed out at night because that seemed to be the only way to get myself to sleep after my mom passed away. And I woke up one day, I felt like shit, and I was like, no, I was fearful of the person that I was becoming. And guess what? I could have just kept going on with that fear, kept living the way that I was living, which was really, really bad. I could keep drinking and drinking and drinking and be hungover and feeling like shit. And my digestive system would have been all messed up, which means my skin would have been breaking out, which means I would have had no energy. I would have just felt like crap. I could have let that happen, but did I? No, because of the help of my mom, first off, from the heavens above, she pushing me as well as reaching out to a community, and one of my friends pushing me to just do something with my life. I took that fear and I launched my online business. And from there, I only have almost 1,000 followers in a couple of months, but I have almost 1,000 followers in a couple months. And because of that, then again, I woke up another day and said, I want to start podcasting. And then I said, I want to write a book. And this book's going to be bestseller book. And see, I've been able to take that fear, and I know I'm going to be like Sarah Blakely. I'm going to have $1 million company, and I'm going to have a freaking empire, all because I took my fear and I did something with it. So, okay, maybe this podcast was a bit lagging in the beginning. I almost didn't really know what to talk about, but then, as typical Caroline, as I kept talking, things and ideas kept raging through my mind, and I honestly think this podcast will help a lot of you. I hope it helps a lot of you. Don't ever let fear stop you from living your life. If anything, take that fear and do something 10 times better, 20 times better, 100 times better. Take whatever fear you have right now and go do something with it. Go live the life that you've been wanting to live, and don't let fear or this pandemic stop you at all. Now I'm all fired up. And I hope you're fired up too. But this was almost a 30-minute episode. Wow, that's crazy. Normally they're only 20 minutes. I cannot tell you guys if they're going to be 15, 20, 30, an hour. Who the heck knows? As you can see, I get fired up about mid-episode, which I'll try to bring this rage of energy and excitement a little bit earlier on in the episode so I can, keep your attention. But the moral of the story is it is a weird time. It is a scary time. It is a frustrating time. It is a fearful time. But go take everything you've got and go do something with it. Go create your empire. Go create and figure out how to create a life of your dreams so that whenever this pandemic is over, you're already living it. And everyone else who decided to not listen to me or to not listen to you, they're all going to still be living that fearful life, and they're not going to do anything with it. But that's okay, because you'll still be shining, you'll still be on top. And that is exactly what this podcast is all about, putting yourself on top again. So I hope you got some insight from this. I hope you feel motivated, and I encourage you to, just go write down 3 things that you love doing that you feel like you can make into your own multi-million-dollar empire, just like Sarah Blakely did, and take that fear and drive yourself forward. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait for next week's topic. I hope to talk to you all then. I almost said see you all then, but I can't really see you. So I hope to talk to you all then. Please give me feedback, reviews. I love hearing from you guys on how I can improve on these things. And that is pretty much it. So have an amazing week. I can't wait to see what you all accomplish. And until then, we'll talk later. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you got some value or just feel fired up, I would love for you to take a screenshot and tag me in your Instagram stories. It's always so motivating to see you getting the inspiration you needed to level up for my podcast. I'm going to keep showing up and bringing my best self to these episodes, and I encourage you to do the same. If you think a friend or family member would enjoy this episode, I would love for you to share the ambition. I can't wait to chat next week, but until then, keep being ambitious AF.